How's it going, folks? Taylor Wachowski here. Today I'm going to be doing a video review on an individual I've seen and her interactions between her and her dogs, and how I find it to be quite harmful because she has a very large following, and the information she spreads can not only be harmful, but false or outdated. Now, I don't know this person. This is being used under fair use. The Fair Use Act for criticism and educational purposes, so I'm just using this as an example of basically what not to do with your dogs. Yes, these are very large, powerful animals that she happens to be dealing with, and it doesn't necessarily mean we need to be overly aggressive or show them who's boss or use pack theory, alpha role, and things that you will see her doing and interacting with her animals in such ways. So I find that to be very harmful. That's why I want to, use this as an example, teaching example. So we're just going to hit play.
Although, I mean, come on, tedious, like really, like, is it any more tedious than shoveling? Hey, get out of my garden right now! Out! No, ma'am.
Okay, so that was just a little bit there. Again, not the end of the world. She ran into the garden. Okay, if you don't want your dog at the garden, maybe keep an eye on your dog, put a little fence up. Not the end of the world. As far as how she handled it or how she could have handled it, I might have just called the dog away. I don't need to continue getting mad at her. The dog clearly didn't seem to really care much about her screaming at her anyway. She just kind of hopped out. So not saying the dog is being abused in any way. I'm just saying that this is something that a lot of people will do. They just scream at their dogs a lot. And you can get the same results without screaming, maybe just walking away, calling the dog away, and rewarding the dog for staying out of that dirt area.
Anyway, I've been shoveling the the dirt, into this gorilla cart, and then dropping it off in here and using a rake. Zoe, don't you do it, stay out.
So there, again, another example of screaming at the dog when not necessary. She is multitasking, filming, okay, so she's not completely paying attention to the dogs. I would probably just leave the area alone. I would walk away. I didn't think that dog needed that type of correction in that moment. I don't think you needed to really scream at them like that, or if people are going to say that wasn't screaming, then I just think that was kind of an unnecessary tone to take with the dog. The dog is showing signs that, they're trying to maybe appease. They have kind of squinty eyes. They're probably a little bit stressed. There might have been a lip lick in there that I missed. Again, the dog is not cowering in fear, but that was a bit unnecessary. And you're going to see if I react to that, then you're going to see how much I would react to some other things she does later on.
Batista already came in here like the jerk that he is, and he pooped in my garden. I saw him.
Okay, so calling the dog a jerk. If somebody starts name calling their animals, calling him a jerk or an a-hole or he's just being a dick or something like that, sorry, pardon my French, but I know that the person is actually talking about themselves. They not necessarily that they're a terrible person, but that they are the jerk. They blame the dog. It's clearly a human problem. Look, you have fresh dirt here. The dog's, it looks no different than anything else in the yard to the dog. So if you don't want them going over there, keep an eye on them, restrain them, have them on a nice loose leash. Put a little fence up, a net up or something to keep the dogs out of this area, or just have them interested with you in an area away from here. So
somewhere, there it is. There's his poop. To teach them, something. I've got to do something, because
okay, so she's talking about teaching them to stay out of this little garden.
Just a process. Maybe it's just a process.
Okay, so she's thinking about a process. That's actually something good. Okay, I'm not just going to be getting on this person's case the whole time. And again, I don't know this person. I don't mean anything personal towards her at all. This is just one person being used as an example. Yeah, it's a process. Find different ways to keep your animals out so you don't have to continuously correct them.
Stay out of my garden now, you bad dog.
Okay, so unnecessary. The dog was just walking over there, and she gets up very aggressively. The noise, the interrupter. You stay out of my garden. Bad dog. The dog didn't do anything. Okay, you're gonna see me kind of start to lose my patience here. I've seen just a couple of minutes of this video that already made me like, really? Okay, so again, unnecessary.
But anyway, we'll have to figure it out. I'm working on it. Nirvana, No.
Okay, again, screaming at the dog. Unnecessary. Could have just called the dog away and rewarded right here for the dog moving away from that area. Perfect. The dog is fine. The dog clearly doesn't seem to care about the screaming because I'm sure they hear it all the time. I'm no angel to that. Sometimes I will raise my voice, unnecessarily if I have, bad timing and I didn't prevent my dog from, trying to play with my ferret in a more and too rough of a way. And it's a human fault, okay? It's a human error. It's never the dog's fault.
It's not a color thing. It's just a boundary thing. They need to learn.
It's a cute little dog.
It's really windy today and
taking a little roll. So we're going to go ahead and move on here.
Hey, Sookie. Mad Mortigan.
Okay, so she whistled. A couple dogs came. I don't know if she really wanted the rest of them to come. She could have been really excited for those two that came. Not the biggest deal in the world. I think here in a minute she talks about shock collars and how she doesn't necessarily feel the need to use them.
But the reality...
Okay, so...
I don't just get a shock collar and just shock my dogs so that they listen.
So that is something that her viewers have asked her, why don't you do that? And now she's explaining her reasoning for not using that.
I'm not opposed to shock collars. I've used them before for certain things. I used it with training Batista.
I personally disagree with using shock collars. I mean, at least she's honest. She's not calling them an e-collar, trying to soften up the name of an electric collar. I personally disagree. I don't think anyone ever needs a shock collar.
But the reality is that, we're a family here, and I kind of like, I see my dogs more as family. Psh, don't you go digging in my mud. You get out right now.
Now that I kind of find kind of funny. That doesn't seem very familiar to me, or familial, whatever you want to call it. Oh, dogs are my family. But let me scream and berate at you for being in the dirt when it's not that big of a deal. That's just me, my personal opinion. All of this is just my personal opinion that I don't have a family like that. I'm not used to that, so I don't think screaming is necessary.
I treat them very similar to how, similar, not the same, but similar to the way that I would treat, like kids. Like, I know that I could get better results if I just shocked one of my dogs for going in my garden.
Now, in playing devil's advocate, she's not wrong. She would get results for shocking her dog for going in the garden. Or you can do, which I don't recommend at all, using a shock collar. You can do what I stated earlier. Just call them away. Like right now, none of them are in the garden. Why is that? Probably because she's over here and they want to hang out with her and they want to hang out doing other things. So you can certainly do that and reward the dogs. Praise, having a ball, having some treats, and doing that and rewarding them.
Or shocked them for, wandering off the property or whatever, but wouldn't be as fun now, would it? Yeah, so if I'm yelling at my dogs, it's not like I'm this angry lady that's just yelling. It's like, I'm not mad. Like, I'm just talking.
Honestly, I tend to disagree. From my opinion, from my experience of seeing her talking to these dogs, sometimes she goes way overboard, and the dogs don't know any difference. They don't care if you're mad or not. If you appear to be upset and you continue to get on their case, seconds or minutes after they've done something you don't like, the dog doesn't know, the dog doesn't care.
There's just many levels to communication. Oh, you're a bad dog. You stay out of my garden. I saw you. You're a bad dog.
Okay, don't like any of that. So, the dog, let's go back a couple seconds here. Totally unnecessary. The dog is out. It's after the fact. She comes over. She's pointing at the dog. The whale eyes, we have the whites of the eyes. The ears are down. The non-existent tail is tucked, which I'm against docking tails and ears and cropping and all that. But that's not the importance right now. So she is there. She's putting a lot of pressure on this dog. Unnecessarily, I believe. The dog is going down. Lip lick. So that was unnecessary. So this is her version of alpha roll without physically forcing the dog down. And I say this because she actually does this a lot. And she does talk about get down, all the way down. and she's talked about teaching them from an early age to side submit like this. So she can't fight a 120-pound dog to their side. So this is what I find to be bullying. I find it to be unnecessary. I find it to be aggressive and very harmful for the dog's mental state. Look at this poor little thing. Her little eyes are squinty. She's, lip licking. She's terrified. And this person is lucky that this dog even listens to her. I mean, if this dog really wanted to fight back and protect themselves, they could, and they would probably win. In the end, they would be, abused with harsher training tools or shocking, or they'd be put down. So, entirely unnecessary. Continues talking to the dog. Okay, she says, you get up and you go, even releasing her from this fearful state, continuing to lip lick, you get out of here.
See, now, I'm not mad when I say that. Like, no.
The dog does not care. The dog knows no difference. She used that as an example for no reason. She wanted to show an example of her being able to side submit a dog and do whatever and use that scary voice and say, no, I'm not angry. The dog doesn't care. The dog knows no difference. Same as a child. Children know no difference. Leave emotion out of it.
I'm emphasizing my voice so that my dog thinks that I'm mad, so that she listens, but I'm not actually mad.
So why do you want your dog to think that you're mad? What does that have to do with anything? How does that help the situation? Is all I'm saying. It's just entirely unnecessary and very dangerous to do with your dog.
There's this guy on TikTok, he was like, your dogs could care less about what you're saying. It's just your tone.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Your dogs really don't care about what you're saying. It's your tone. Now, at the same time, if you're really happy, you could tell your dog, I love you, or you're stupid, or whatever, in a happy tone, and they enjoy that. It doesn't mean that you need to use this tone to get your dog to listen. So we're going to move forward a little bit. Okay, so those were just some of the mild examples of what she does when interacting with her dogs. They're not, besides the side submitting by, without physical force, that I find to be very dangerous. The rest of it is not the end of the world.
What's up, big man? What are you doing? Stay out of my dirt. Blondie, out of my dirt, woman. Blondie.
So in that moment when she was just standing there, again, unnecessary. Instead of screaming at your dog, not just her, but a lot of people will do this. Instead of being lazy, don't stand there and scream at your dog to come to you, come. And if you get really mad, the longer they take and the more they don't listen, the louder you get. How about instead of screaming at them, don't be lazy. Walk over to your dog, get their attention. You don't need to scream and berate them. You're not getting mad at them. Get a little bit closer. They can have a better draw to you because you connect with them a little bit better. You're a little bit closer and you can draw them away. You can move backwards, run away, call them to you using your body language and get them away from whatever it is you don't want them towards. So people are very lazy, or we just don't know, or we want the quick thing. We have everything given to us, so we get lazy. So just walk around a little bit. Walking around, you can walk around and get this dog to come to you without even saying anything. So this is just a something for a lot of people to think about.
What are you doing, Vitani? Where's Sookie? Sookie! What are you doing? Back here chasing chickens, getting away with it.
Okay. So, why was the dog over there getting away with getting chickens or chasing chickens? Not the dog's fault. It's the human's fault. You have too many dogs. You don't have any on leash. You have more than you can control. This poor young little pup was over there playing with the chickens. Okay, she's being a dog. It ain't her fault. It's the human's fault. But what does the human do? They see it as a dog problem. They're going to blame the dog. So the dog is running away, trying to avoid her.
She knows she's wrong.
Laying down on her own. I don't like that. That's not good. She's trying to be submissive. She's trying to appease the angry, in her mind, the scary, aggressive, angry owner. That doesn't mean that this person is necessarily bad or the worst person on the planet. Okay, I'm just explaining as far as behavior goes and what you should not do. Do not do this.
So she submitted to Blondie, actually.
I don't know who she was submitting to. I don't know. I guess I would have to go back and see.
You're a bad dog.
Okay, so this is way, way, way after the behavior. the behavior of going after the chicken. So now she's just coming over here to assert herself, really for no reason, to the dog.
Down, Sookie. Sookie. You grab her, Savannah.
Okay, so she's teaching her young child to do this. Very dangerous. Don't ever teach anyone to do this, especially not a child. You put them at risk of being hurt. Obviously, you put the dog at risk of being hurt. Just do not do this. And see, this is this child here is doing what their parents have taught them. And so many strangers on this planet will watch this video and think, oh, I should do that with my dog. They're going to do it with their dog. They're going to get bitten. They're going to hurt their dog. The dog will lose trust with them. But look, you get results. So apparently that's all that matters. No, do not do this.
No, don't pat her. Just hold her down if you have to. My Morty.
Don't hold her down. Do not do this. Dangerous. You are being a bully. You're teaching your kid to be a bully. And this is not about the kid. This is about what you are teaching other people. People are watching this video and thinking it's okay to do this.
Matt, it's not the time. Go away.
Do not scruff grab her. Do not grab her by the scruff and hold her down. Very dangerous. This is flooding this poor dog. You're forcing them to stay down. You're terrifying them. And you're teaching your kid and so many people to do this. Lip licks, stress panting.
Batista, go away.
Yelling at this poor dog, just chilling here. Like, hey, I just want some attention. But no, we only get negative attention.
Chill out.
So dangerous. Do not do this.
I'm not putting a ton of pressure on her.
It doesn't matter if you put pressure on her or not. You're still holding her down. This whole body language of leaning over her, the fingers, the overall energy you're putting over this dog is enough social pressure to keep her down.
Sookie, no.
Lip lick. She's getting mad at her for fighting it. Stress panting.
No, ma'am.
She didn't do anything wrong. Quit. Don't do this. Don't put pressure on them. Don't hold them down like this. If she were a fully grown adult, you would not have any chance doing this. But because she's raised her from a tiny puppy, and she's done this from a tiny puppy, you get away with this bullying behavior. She, meaning the mother, by doing this. She's teaching her daughter, putting her daughter at risk. She's putting other people at risk. Do not do this. Lip lick. Lip lick. I don't know why they're shooting at her. She's probably got dirt in her mouth. She's trying to get her lip out of her mouth. Lip licking. Grabbing. Okay, so that's what they call... That right there is what they call a mouth bite, because other dogs will do it to other dogs, mainly wolves will do it, moms might do it to puppies. The dog does not see you as a dog. The dog sees you as a primate or a predator, a two-legged human. You're being a predator because you're grabbing their mouth with your hand. They see your hand as a hand, not your mouth. They know the difference. Don't be calling this a mouth bite. Don't be trying to interact with your dogs, thinking they're going to see you as a dog. They don't. Don't hold her mouth shut. Very dangerous lip lick. Poor dog is...
She will.
This poor thing.
She's trying to wait you out.
She's not trying to wait anyone out. If she is, she's saying, okay, leave me alone. Please go away. You are a threat. You are scaring me. There's pressure here from this mother owner person standing over the dog with the camera. There's pressure here. There's physical pressure. There's so much pressure on this poor little dog. If they were to snap right now, they could seriously injure someone. And the dog would be blamed, and the dog would probably have a worse time because they would be corrected even more harshly than this.
She's trying to act like how much she doesn't care.
Don't scruff grab her. Please do not do that. It's so unnecessary. She's not thinking like a human, okay? She doesn't think, I can wait him out and this and that. She's waiting for you to leave her alone so she can go about her business. She doesn't understand why you're doing this at all. Don't do that. Don't grab her by the cheek skin.
And I'm going to be very clear. The point is not to be gentle or sweet about this. Savannah is being nice, but it is not... I've seen people try to be do gentle, submissive, posture. And I'm sorry, but that is not going to get you any kind of desired result.
Do not do any side submitting. I mean, I don't think you need to be aggressive either. This is not aggressive, but to the dog it's aggressive. I'd hate to see what the mother does, which I actually have seen, we'll probably see later on, and how aggressive she is. You don't need to side submit. The true behavior of a side submit is when she saw Blondie earlier, the other dog, she did this on her own. That's the difference. Blondie did not forcibly throw her down, scream at her, yell at her, hold her mouth down like this and her head down and in the dirt like this. Blondie did none of that. This here puppy, Nirvana, I think, did that on her own. Of her own free will, she wanted to show submission to the other dog as a sign of respect, as a sign of, hey, don't hurt me. Maybe she's her mother. I don't know. She did it on her own. That's what true submission is, when they do it of their own free will. You know, you don't ever see a dog alpha roll in the sense that we try to do it, where we force them down, we play mental games with them, we hold their mouth down. Don't do this.
You do need to be firm.
No, you don't.
You know, you need to be tough. You need
No,
to be
you
firm.
don't.
You need to be clear.
No, you don't. None of this is necessary.
That the dog did something wrong.
No, you do not need to do that. Now, see, I'm getting real impatient, and you're going to hear how I truly feel about this. Because she is giving this information out, and a lot of people will follow it. Do not listen to this. You do that, you're going to get yourself hurt one of these days. It might work now on this cute little puppy, but this big man here, she would not try it. Trust me, if he had never been, raised this way, like this puppy, she would never even try it. Because he would outweigh her, he would outpower her, as he should. He's defending himself. This puppy's trying to defend herself and trying to, if you want to say wait it out, she's trying to wait them out and get them to leave her alone. Because she doesn't know why she's being punished like this. So she's not learning anything from this, other than people's hands can be bad. People get in my face and I don't like it. They're not reading my calming signals, my squinty eyes, the lip licking, the yawning, if she had a tail, it might be tucked by now. She's not learning anything.
You don't need to be violent. You don't need to be hurtful.
Now, what's the difference between, what is her definition of violent? I think this is pretty violent. My definition is this is pretty violent. Everything you're doing here is pretty aggressive in my terms. Now obviously there's no blood. The dog is not squealing. The dog is not crying out in pain or limbs are falling off. But is that the definition of violent? Does it have to get to that point? At what point does it, become true violence and abuse? Is this not seen as being abusive to the dog? To being totally unnecessary to her psychological state and even her physical state?
You don't need to damage
Lip
or
lick.
injure, okay?
No
But
kidding.
You don't. This is not a massage time or something.
It doesn't. I would much rather give my dog massage time. I would be happy to do that right now and give all these dogs massage time and have my dog trust me. If you can touch your dog all over their body with them willingly laying down for it because they want it, that is when you have true trust of your animal, not because you're forcing them down, holding their neck down. From a young puppy, you corner them, you put your finger in their face, you put their hand on their mouth.
You know what I mean?
It's so dangerous.
Preacher, get out of the way. Move.
Quit it.
Just please stop. This is so dangerous. And it goes on for so long. Is she still down? Is she still working with this dog all the way? Oh my gosh. This is just, and this happens every day. Yep. She's still sitting there. Minutes and minutes and minutes later. Oh look, there's another dog down. Alright, what did this dog do?
Mortigan, leave her alone.
Alright, someone's bothering someone.
Everybody has their own.
Okay, puppy's gone, I think.
Down. Neck.
Okay, look at that. He has a tail. She tucked, totally fearful, submissive posture because aggressive human predator is walking in on them. Ears are back. They don't think they did anything wrong because they didn't. They're being a dog. Okay, female, I believe. So, okay, long lips, stress, panting. Yeah, you're real strong here with your Crocs. They're just shoes, but, real strong person here, because you can get a powerful predator dog, mind you, who has been bred over the thousands of years to work with humans. You can't do this with any grown wild animal. You try this with a wolf that's not been born in captivity and imprinted by humans and all that. That thing would tear you apart. As it should. Humans are so aggressive. We have opposable thumbs. We think we can own and make everything do whatever we want it to. So dangerous and unnecessary. This is not trust.
So the reason that I got quit it, Trinity.
What? Quit? What? What did she do? Because she's not sitting there looking like, the pathetic, victim you want her to. And I don't mean that, towards the dog at all. The dog is trying to roll over and be submissive. She's trying to appease this person to leave her alone.
That the reason that I got Trinity instead of Matt Mortigan is because Trinity's aggression was higher.
Look, if she was being aggressive with the other dog could have handled it. I think they were totally fine. Not saying that they need to get into a fight, but dogs can handle things between each other much better than a human can. And a human does not need to step in and get in their face and do this, because it doesn't do anything. A big bully. This is a bully right here, and this is a poor little dog getting in trouble for nothing.
Matt Mortigan wasn't being aggressive. He was just messing. He's trolling, basically.
Okay, so if she wanted him to stop it, she told him that. And now person here says, I'm going to control the situation. I'm going to tell you you're wrong, and you're going to get in trouble. Whereas if Man Mortigan, whatever his name is, wanted her to stop, or she wanted him to stop, they can tell each other that through barks or low growls or just moving away. You didn't see Man Mortigan doing that to her. No other dog is doing this to another dog, where they stand over them like this, where they get in their face and really make them lay down and submit in such fear. This is not natural behavior for anything, where we get in their face so much and force them down like this. She's not touching this dog. She doesn't have to, because she's taught it from a young age, and she's mentally manipulated this animal. Animals don't do that. If a dog comes over and he shows his teeth and she wants to lay down and say, hey, I'm not a threat, that's on her, because she can move away, she could defend herself, she could have so many options, but he's not mentally manipulating her to lay down, other than she says, hey, I'm not a threat.
Trinity was actually being aggressive, which I don't like.
Now, I don't want my dogs to be aggressive with each other either, but they're going to have little disagreements, and it's okay for them to have those disagreements and deal with them the way dogs do, without taking it so far as to attack each other or put teeth on each other.
I'm always going to go after the more aggressive dog, which is the one that is more likely to cause a problem within the pack.
Again, pack. I hate that word and how it's used. Dogs are not pack animals. The only pack animals are wolves, and they are pack animals because they are a family unit. Yes, some of these dogs are related to some of these others because these are the parents, but hardly any of these dogs are related. Dogs have evolved over the last 15 or so thousand years from wolves. We have domesticated them. In some cases, they have domesticated themselves. But these are not pack animals. They are not mother, father. And in a pack of wolves, one wolf does not physically manipulate the mind of another and throw them down or put their mouth on them and hold them there and say, shh, and you better stop, or you're gonna get out of my dirt. They don't do that. If a puppy lays down in front of a mother or father, it's because they are the parents and you have that mutual respect. It's because it's in front of an older brother or sister. So a pack is not a group of strangers, as is here. Even if a dog has puppies, they're not pack animals, because the mother and the father, as soon as that mother's out of estrus or goes back into estrus, or when she goes back into estrus, actually, she would move on to and abandon those puppies. She's not going to hunt for them. She's not going to protect them. As soon as she's done milking them, she says, "See ya, I'm gone." That's wild dogs in the slums of smaller countries or in trash yards are found that, hey, they have puppies, bye, see ya. That's why we have so many stray puppies and dogs that are abandoned. The parents don't have this mutual bond to stay together for life and we're going to raise a family. They breed, they have babies, they move on. The mom's not going to hunt for her babies. She's not going to regurgitate food for them after they're done milking and then find prey and teach them how to hunt and all this. She's gone. So they're not family units. They are individuals that just happen to have babies.
Nirvana.
So there's no pack.
Like my preacher sidekick. Every time I'm doing something, Nirvana's always there to back me up.
So that dog there was moving away from these two. Head a little bit lower, tail maybe a little bit lower. Kind of hard to tell when you cut off a dog's tail and cut off their ears for looks or for AKC, which is totally unnecessary. Even if you have a working dog, I don't think you need to crop off their ears, which they do at a very, very young age for puppies. I don't agree with that, but it's harder to tell what the dog is saying. So here, obviously, they do have some ears. We can tell with the rest of their body language. But when you take away ears and tails, those are some of the main points that dog uses to communicate with another. But the point was that this dog is moving away from them, lowered head. They moved on. They didn't keep staring at them. They didn't follow them. They didn't nag them. They didn't bully them to lay down for them. They just said, hey, this dog just said, hey, I don't want any problems. So the title of this video is Batista Gets a Correction for Trying to Dominate Preacher During Pack Time. Okay, I have a lot of issues with, okay, if Preacher wants to correct Batista, okay, the dogs know how to correct and leave it alone. And it's just that. They don't take it too far, they don't force you down, they just say, hey, back off. Dominate, okay, we don't know. Domination is used too broadly. Domination could be, hey, if there's a bone and a dog has it, another dog can go over and growl at them or just charge them, and this dog leaves it, and this dog says, my bone. That's a form of domination, not this continuous, I'm boss of you always. Pack time, meaning they're all outside. Dogs, again, are not pack animals.
Still has about 2 weeks left, and the majority of the growth...
Okay, so watch those dogs right there. This dog laid down of her own, free will. Yeah, these guys were kind of in her face, and she could have moved away. She could have barked and corrected and done whatever. But they didn't actually grab their teeth on her and throw her down and hold her and shh and psst and all that. So this dog kind of did that on her own. So we'll go back a couple seconds. And this is dogs being dogs.
That she's familiar with instead.
So here she is. She's play bowing. They kind of put their head next to her, put a little pressure on her shoulder, saying, you could say that's a form of domination. I don't know. They're putting their head over you, trying to say, hey, in our little group here, in this little hierarchy, I'm higher. And she goes down on her own.
So
they're
anyway,
playing, nothing aggressive. Now they're just chewing on her.
Maybe
playing.
I guess we'll have to see. I really like the handler that I'm using right now, but
having fun.
Because of the fact that Zoe is.
And if she wants to get up, she can. Yeah, at any point she can get up and tell him, "Hey, back off." She chose to stay laying down.
She's not technically a co-own because Europeans don't do that, but it's very similar to a co-own. Only difference is that it's a verbal agreement, and I stand by my word, and so.
Let's just mute this and just see what these dogs are doing now, just to focus. God, look at that. Look at that power and that leap, and these guys are running. They hear something, they're playing. Just looking at these dogs, they're having fun. Playing chase, hard to get. Okay, so these guys go back, and they go for the back of the neck. You can see there for a second her hackles are up. The hair right along the back here goes up. She's excited. All right, well, right there you can see, if you look at that part, that it's kind of high up. And she's laying down, she's playing, and she's chewing, and all of this, again, is on her own. She's rolling over and showing her belly on purpose. This little guy also, when you have a little dog and a big dog, you can tell that sometimes the larger dog will handicap themselves, they call it, where they lay down. They know this puppy can't take them down, so they'll roll over and teach the puppy to get the upper hand. So this dog is teaching this puppy, and that's really good. Dogs need to teach each other how to be dogs, and only a dog can teach another dog how to be a true dog. Humans don't need to get in the way of it. So this is not meant to be a video of just looking at, aggression and things like that, but I do want to point it out as an example of what not to do with your own dog. Wow, that was a pretty cool little shot there. They're sharing a stick. Let's go after something else. Play with their little friend. Running after puppy. Perfect example there of that puppy going down on their own to say, hey, I don't want to be chased. I'm not a threat. Chill your jets. Okay, cool your jets. Too much energy. So, dog comes running in, intersects the puppy. Puppy lays down. Ears go back. Gonna show the belly. That's submission. And this dog is looking at him. Direct pressure right here. The puppy is saying, hey, chill, dude. Dog says, okay, no worries. I'm going to go over here now. Puppy gets back up. Perfect. Dogs can do that with each other. Humans do not need to, because humans would force this dog down and stay on top of them for much longer than they need to and cause problems and make this dog fearful. See, the puppy comes back. It could be mother, could be father. I don't know. The puppy just comes back and says, hey, let's chill. The dog came back to them. Maybe to say, maybe they want to play. Maybe they're just sniffing around. So we're going to go to one last video. So this video says preacher gets in big trouble during hike. Okay, so why does the dog get in trouble when it's... I'm going to say immediately it's the human's fault. Okay, poor thing. So you're hiking. Sorry.
Let's go.
Calling dogs back.
Boys.
Okay, pretty good.
Preacher.
Okay, so before she gets into this, pretty good, little recall. I mean, these dogs are off leash. They're doing fine. They're not totally ignoring you. They came back after a whistle. They were running. They're excited. Their energy is up, and they got into maybe a little scuffle. I didn't think it was really that bad. They all know each other. They seem to handle it just fine.
Don't you dare.
But she didn't like it, so he's giving some stress panting.
Calm down.
Appeasement.
Down. Now. Down.
Poor
Preacher.
thing. Now she talks about, she has a story time of him when he was a baby, that when she tried to start side submitting him or whatever, he reacted. Now, I don't know if that's the exact story or not. She did something with him and he started reacting. And in her case, she said he was being aggressive. So she had to really force him down. So now that you have this 200-pound, Italian Mastiff, predator full of teeth, very strong, beautiful animal, you can't do that with an adult. But you can with a baby. And nothing like what you saw just a few minutes ago with the other dogs interacting with them. So she's screaming at him,
Shut
bully.
up.
I'm calling her a bully. She's being a bully. Long lips. Totally unnecessary. If the other dogs didn't like what he was doing, they could have told him. And I'm sure they did. And they handled it. It was correction. That's it. We're gone. We're moving on. But no, humans have to get in here and
chill out.
And enforce ourselves and say, I'm bigger, I'm badder, I'm the boss of you, I'll show you who's boss. We have stress panting, squinty eyes, the ears are back, continuing to nag on him, doing the Caesar thing.
Don't do that again.
Do you really think he knows what you're talking about? No, he really doesn't. And honestly, I would say he doesn't care. He's going to do it again. He's a dog. He's telling Batista, whomever irritated him, back off. He knows how far to take it. Otherwise, a fight would have broken out, and there's no way you can stop it in time between him and another full-grown male Cane Corso, who are both intact, meaning they haven't been neutered.
Get up.
God, just so unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't engage, but he was still hype.
Okay, no worries. I mean, no big deal. It didn't go further than it needed to, because if you let these dogs interact with each other, they know exactly how far to take it. If they don't, then you need to teach them, condition some basket muzzles so that everything's safe, and use some positive reinforcement and give them space. And I mean, these guys, Batista's grown up since a tiny baby from, I think he might be this guy's son. I don't know. There's so many dogs that come in and out of this place. I don't know, but they've been together for a while, so they know each other.
Preacher's being a jerk. See, look at him peeing on stuff.
Okay, so she calls him a jerk. He's peeing on things, marking things. Now, in this case, you are being the bully. You are being the jerk. He is not the jerk. He did nothing wrong.
Preacher!
Why is she screaming at him? Why is she screaming at him? He's just going off being a good old dog, and now she has to keep on screaming at him to come on back. Why? Trying to keep control over him. For some people that don't normally see this side of me, they're going to see the full wrath I have when I see someone that just truly irritates me. And she has, in almost every one of her videos, she has a dog going down like that. These dogs are doing nothing wrong. And I believe this guy back here, Batista, not this one, the Brindle was the one that had a shock collar on for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. He has a martingale. I will say I do like his collar. A regular flat, a nice wide flat, I believe it's a martingale.
Good boy, my Mortigan.
I don't like that he has a choke chain on. Don't like they have choke chains on these guys.
Madman, come here.
Come here, let's go. Good boy.
Because the choke chains, this might be a show chain, whatever. They choke the trachea. They're a correction, a metal tool around the throat. They shouldn't be on, period. Especially not 24/7. They're not regular collars. But people will use them, and if they use them, it should only be during training. Again, I don't recommend them. I don't think they're ever necessary. Such a hazard to have this on. It can get caught on things. The dog can literally strangle themselves to death.
All right.
People will use this when they don't know how to control the dog properly, when they haven't taught the dog without having a hard hand and harsh correction. So this is a cheat, in my opinion, like having a bit in a horse's mouth. No dog needs this. So I think when I see this, that this person doesn't have control over this dog.
We put this on Preacher. Technically.
Okay, slip lead. They're using slip lead on him because he usually has a choke chain on.
No, I would right now.
So again, they don't know. They raised this lady has raised all these dogs from puppies, I'm assuming, at least these two. Great that he has this martingale on, probably because he doesn't need the shot collar anymore, but you know, this guy, you raised him since a puppy and you still can't walk him on a regular collar? See? That choking?
Yeah, not today. He's like...
Preacher, quit trying to avoid it.
Okay. Teaching her daughter to yell at the dog who's avoiding a correction collar. I would avoid it too. I don't want a slip lead going over my head.
He's running on high octane today.
There you go.
Okay. Even that pull up there with that
Preacher,
leash tightening
quit
it
trying
is
to
a
avoid
correction.
He's running on high octane today.
There you go.
Correction. Unnecessary. She doesn't think it's a correction. No one's going to notice that. It's a correction. But it is to the dog. This is tight. It should always be loose. I believe she has it on the wrong way anyway. These are meant to go on a certain way where the loop is on the bottom, so it always loosens up. But I think this will loosen up on its own anyway.
Mm-mm. I only have one hand.
Okay, so how about you drop the camera and walk your dogs? I see why you need the choke chain and the slip lead, because you have different priorities. My opinion.
What do you mean? You don't...
The only reason they can walk them with one hand is because they have this choke chain on that's choking them and pulling them back and correcting them. And you can easily teach these guys to walk in a harness. But if they never walked in a harness before, a regular collar, they might pull a little bit more. No problem. Doesn't mean you can't teach them. What I mean is she's never taken time to properly teach them, you know, how to walk in a regular collar. So you rely on a corrective collar.
You don't have one hand.
I need one to protect the camera.
Oh, Lord.
Boys.
Okay, so correcting,
Yeah, you
unnecessary.
just know how Batista is, so watch for any change in his...
So if she knows that Batista is reactive, why is she not taking that dog? You know, or however the dog acts. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, the dog is not the one being bad or in trouble. Just why is she not the one taking control of that? Why does she leave her kid with two hands that are being used by two dogs?
Demeanor. He gives an ugly look.
Okay, so see, she's trying to appease her mom, saying, "Hey, look at these boys. They're doing good next to each other. If these were the two that were fighting, why is she walking them? They should be, one, separated if you're worried, or two, the adult should be walking one of these guys. These two dogs, if they wanted to take off, could easily injure her or the mother or both of them together. They're very strong animals. So I think this is a bit of a dangerous situation. Not saying at all that this kid can't handle them, but given the issue apparently that they had earlier, I would not put my kid in this situation. Again, I'm not saying that she's doomed to get hurt. I'm just saying whatever happened previously, I wouldn't want to put anyone at risk.
Well, alrighty.
And now they're avoiding each other. I mean, they're not looking at each other. They're hot. They're stressed. Their, ears are back. Tension in the face. Stressed tongues. Both of them. Spatulate tongues. They're both pretty hot, stressed dogs.
Let's go.
And she forces her way in between them.
Let's go.
Okay, so someone's choking. That little cough. Choking because of the slip lead. She's constantly pulling up on her tight leash.
Pretty sure he pulled you down, hun.
Okay, so see, she has two dogs. Apparently she got pulled down. But mother here is priority is filming, not making sure her kid is okay in the back with the two dogs. I'm not questioning anything about parenting. I'm simply saying right now, if she is at all worried, I just think that this is not a good situation. Just my opinion.
All right. Not bad. Yeah.
Okay, so tight leash. She has no room to bring him back. He's just pulling. It's opposition reflex. He can't breathe, and she's still jerking on him. Because she hasn't taken time to teach him appropriately how to walk on leash. And appropriately, in my definition, obviously, if you know me, is positive reinforcement.
You.
That doesn't exist in this household. That doesn't mean anything. The dog is just trying to breathe and get forward. He doesn't know heel. I guarantee he doesn't know heel without you holding that leash back.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so she's having trouble in the back. And she says, no, you're going to hold on to him, even though you're having trouble. Mom, you need to take that dog. You need to swap dogs with her. You need to take another dog. Put the camera down. If your kid is having trouble with that, you need to be there to help her because she's smaller than you. She's not as experienced in handling animals like that as you are.
Not until we get down here and see what's going on. Fix your collar placement and he can't pull you.
She says, fix your collar placement. He can't pull you, meaning move it from here to right behind the skull because it's much more sensitive. So she's teaching her kid, okay? If you have a dog that overpowers you, use this little trick that'll control everything. Like if you put, a larger bit in a horse's mouth, you can control them, and they won't run off on you as much.
Back.
She said back. She corrected. Dog doesn't do anything because it doesn't mean anything to him. He's just relying on her to pull on that collar.
One more again. Back up. So I would say you're good for right here, yeah.
Now, to be fair, if I were to teach this dog to walk on leash, I have videos on my own channel showing exactly how I do that. If I want him to learn to give into pressure, one, I'm using a regular flat buckle collar martingale, like was on Batista, the big red wide one. That way there's plenty of space around his neck. If he does move in front of me and pull, I will simply stop our forward movement and I will apply the slightest bit of pressure on the side of his body, getting him to turn or move his weight this way. Literally, I use a finger's worth of pressure. This is pressure and release. It is not positive reinforcement. However, I want my dog to learn that when you feel pressure, you don't panic and try to run forward. If you move into it, it goes away. As soon as he gives me a step in this direction, moving sideways, I loosen that lead, and he has all 6 feet of his leash. I don't hold it back to where he has 3 inches worth of slack in his leash. He has a full leash. If you want to see more about that, feel free to go to my channel and check out the loose leash walking. I talk a lot about that. But I'm not holding him back.
This ain't no joke right here.
Because if he knows how to give into pressure, and not basically meaning he's not going to pull you down a dangerous hill like this, they know how to walk down slowly.
Heel.
He doesn't know heel. He's lip licking. He's afraid.
Yeah.
You're choking him. Now, see, that was an example there. If I were to bring him back, I wouldn't have this choke chain on. But if he were to move forward, I can use just enough pressure to move him this half step in this direction. I'm not pulling back on his body, on his trachea, on his esophagus, on his chest plate, or his spine. I'm moving sideways, and he can move in, and I can loosen that lead immediately.
Back up. Hey, heel!
Okay, so I'm not sure what heel meant. I'm not sure what she takes off his collar, because she knows he's going to pull her down the hill. And then she says, heel.
Hey! Batista!
Okay, so she apparently expected this dog to listen to her off-leash.
Batista, heel!
Batista doesn't know heel. He's not going to come back now. I don't know who she meant heel for.
Savannah.
Oh, of course, it's the daughter's fault. It's the dog's fault. It's Batista's fault. It's the daughter's fault. It's not your fault. Not your fault for not planning appropriately.
Batista, come! Now, bring me that leash. Oh, you're a bad dog.
No, he's not. And you could have prepared all this better. But you didn't. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. These dogs are hot and thirsty. They're probably getting water down here. Nasty, dirty water. But water nonetheless. And you're getting mad at the dogs. Just poor planning.
Batista!
Oh, that looks difficult.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Come on! Preacher, this way!
The dog's not listening. Why do you think they're not listening? Because you don't have 2 inches on their collar. You're not yanking them and jerking them around. So you have no actual bond with these dogs. My opinion.
My Mortigan, back over here! Dude, this is like ridiculous.
Okay, so a cute little river. Getting some water.
Batista!
Playtime. See, when you scream at your dog enough, they just learn to ignore you. Just like with the leash. You pull on them enough, you alpha roll them enough, you bully them enough, they just learn to say, hey, I'm going to get in trouble anyway, I might as well have fun.
What? What's wrong with you? Shh, my Mortigan! No! Come here. So there, Batista's, he's doing his thing. He always wants to, he wants to prove he's the boss so bad that he'll even instigate play. See, look at that. So see that mirroring behavior? So,
So I don't see anything about them trying to be boss or this or that. They're being dogs. They want to protect a resource guarding. It's not super aggressive, so Batista apparently took the stick. He says, okay, I'll find another stick. No worries.
yeah, there you go.
The dogs usually aren't worried about being boss or anything, you know, in the sense that people see it as the overlord.
So my Mortigan is going to get his stick now.
Okay, so
and
he's
going
doing
to
on
try
a
to
stick.
make him jealous. Look, so
I don't know that
he's got a bigger stick here.
I don't think he's thinking that. I don't think that this dog is really planning to spitefully make this dog jealous. I think he just found another stick and he wants to chew on it.
Yeah, and Preacher did it too. Preacher's got his stick.
Okay, so they all have a stick. It's not a big deal. It's not, you know, these guys are not trying to spite the other or think like
so all
humans.
This posturing. Boys. Man Mortigan. Batista, come here.
See, there's nothing wrong with that. In my opinion, now, if you're not careful, if these dogs don't know each other, they are all intact. They haven't been neutered. You want to be careful. You know, fights can break out if you do that and you don't raise them to be balanced and understand dog body language. Meaning if they don't know when to settle down or leave things alone. If you teach them to nag because you nag them, then they're going to grow up to be bullies just like you.
Batista, come!
So they're fine. They're being boys. They're teaching each other. They're being dogs.
Now, let's go. Man Mortigan, come here now.
So they don't listen to her with all that screaming, because why should I go over there? I'm going to get in trouble anyway. She's probably going to alpha roll me. She's probably going to have me side submit. You know, where does all this anger sounding and all of this yelling really get you? Nothing.
Now,
you don't have a bond with them.
Come here. Good boy. Good boy.
The first time she's actually praised any of these animals this whole time.
Come here. Come here.
And it means so much more to them because they don't ever get it.
Come here. Batista, heel. You.
Batista doesn't know heel.
Put this punk on a leash. Why aren't you taking pictures?
Punk on a leash, okay. Alright, so you get the idea. Alright, here, we'll end with my little cutie pie right here. This is Adonis when he was about 12 weeks old. The day I brought him, the next day after I brought him home, his little toy giraffe. He's in my mother's lap right there. So you get the idea. I don't recommend anything, or 99.5% of what she talked about. I don't agree with it, if you couldn't tell already. So hopefully you can take something from that. I know I blabbed a lot. I know I talked a lot. I hope this helps, and I will have a much more positive video for you guys next time. So thanks for watching. Until next time, try to stay positive.